Lane Kiffin is the ultimate wild card of college football right now. 1 minute, he's out coaching legends. The next, he's starting Twitter wars with emojis. Right now, he's staring down the biggest decision of his career: stay at Ole Miss or roll the dice on Florida. It's my prediction that in 4 years, we will know with absolute certainty if he's a genius or an idiot. Welcome to College Football Addiction. If you're new here, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button if you enjoy any part of today's video. Today, we're deep diving into Lane Kiffin's make or break moment. This is the call that will ultimately define his legacy, whether he stays in Oxford or makes the jump to Gainesville. We won't know if he nailed the decision until 2029, 2030 at best. But let's break it down. The Ole Miss case. Let's start with option A, staying at Ole Miss. To me, this is the ultimate safe bet. The cozy confines of Oxford. And here's why Lane might stay put. He's already cooking. Lane's got a 50-19 record at Ole Miss. He's had great finishes. He's beaten some of the biggest programs in the country. And Ole Miss fans this year are dreaming of playoffs, not just bowl games. Why mess up a good thing? Pro number 2, it's low pressure, high vibes. At Ole Miss, a 10-win season or multiple 10-win seasons gets you a possible statue. At Florida, it's a little different. It gets you a, good job, but if you slip up once, we'll fire you. Look at Dan Mullen. Lane can go 9-3, tweet hotty toddy, and sleep like a baby. There's no pitchforks coming after him. Pro number 3, he's a rising star. He's the biggest name on the market right now, and Ole Miss is trending up. Lane's in the transfer portal, doing a great job there. He's stacking good recruiting classes with 4 stars who maybe didn't fit at other places, but he seems to tinker well enough to get the most out of his guys. The offense is an absolute track meet, and the defense isn't a total disaster anymore, although this season in Athens, it maybe wasn't the best. Oxford is becoming a destination. But hold up. Ole Miss is not perfect. There's a reason that Lane might ditch the Rebels. Ole Miss, maybe their first con is they are becoming more relevant nationally, but ultimately for the large portion of their history, there's not a lot of national clout. From the last 50 years, what have they done that gives them historical significance? In today's SEC, you're not out recruiting Georgia, Bama, or Texas with wins from half a century ago. There seems to be a recruiting ceiling in Mississippi. They've got talent, but maybe 5 or 10 blue chippers a year. Lane's portal game is strong, but it doesn't feel like you can build a dynasty off of other teams' cast-offs. What about resources? Ole Miss has a great facility with a new IPF. Florida's got a better one. Florida's resources are higher. And if you look at what Florida's able to put out versus what Oxford is, it's not really comparable. What about the gamble to go to Florida? Florida's the big stage. Let's be pretty honest about this. There's a chance for him to be an absolute legend at UF, like Spurrier, like Meyer. Or there's the opportunity for him to crash and burn. But here's why Lane might pack his bags for Gainesville. Number 1, money. Florida's football budget is absurd. And the money that they can tap into is almost unmatched in the SEC. It's not unmatched. Texas, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, all up there too. They've got a weight room that looks like a spaceship. They've got recruiting talent all over the place, which we'll talk about in a minute. But with that, Lane can walk into that building and look at any 5-star in the face and say, do you want to be part of this? Heck, Billy Napier was able to do that. Pro number 2, Florida is a recruiting paradise. Florida is a high school football goldmine. Miami, Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, and more. There are 5 stars everywhere. Lane wouldn't need to beg transfers. He just opened the door and the talent could potentially flood in. You don't have to leave this. I'll get right back to the video, but if you haven't already, October is almost over. We've got about a week left in it. Go get your free $20 play on the Sleeper app. You get that by just entering our code CFA or clicking the link in the description. Then it'll auto-populate for you. New depositors still get a 100% match up to $100 on your first deposit. But again, if you don't want to deposit, just go get your free play. It's the Sleeper app. It's code CFA. We appreciate Sleeper for their support. State of Florida, if you're one of the big three in this state to win championships. Number 3 is legacy. Win a national title at Florida, and those people think you're a god. Spurrier, Urban Meyer, Tebow. That's the kind of company you keep. At Ole Miss, a natty would be massive, but it's not like winning at Florida. Florida's no fairy tale either, though. Here's why Lane could certainly crash and burn. Number 1, they have insane expectations. Florida fans treat an 8-4 season like a war crime. You lose to Georgia 3 years in a row, they'll burn your house down. Lane's Twitter trolling is cute right now in Ole Miss, but it doesn't quite hit the same if you're not winning in Gainesville. Con number 2, their administration is chaos a lot of the time. Florida's athletic department, and their fans will agree with this. This isn't me for all the good things I've said about Florida being an FSU guy. Their athletic department is a soap opera at times. Booster infighting, ADs coming and going, sometimes staying a little longer than they'd want, with Scott Strickland still there. Lane would need to channel his inner Machiavelli just to get things done there. Con number 3, there is a rival overload in the state. Florida State likely to be going through a coaching transition here soon too. Miami is absolutely loaded with NIL cash, and it feels like they have the right coach in place, though Miami does slip up in some of the big games, some of the games they shouldn't slip up in. Plus, you've got Georgia and LSU very close that are breathing down your neck. Florida's schedule is a gauntlet, and Lane's got to win almost all of it. So what's it going to be? My take. If I'm Lane Kiffin, I'm taking the Florida job. Now, hear me out. You don't get paid as much money as these guys get paid to play it safe. Ole Miss is comfy. It's home right now. But Florida, that's where statues are built. That's where you go from funny Twitter coach to SEC legend. Yes, it's risky. The admin's a circus. But if Lane pulls it off, if he can win in the SEC at Florida, if he can get back to the Gators beating Georgia, he's untouchable. Now, if he stays at Ole Miss and takes them to the playoff multiple times, he's a genius. Ultimately, Oxford could be his kingdom. But I'm taking the gamble if I'm him. I'm betting on myself, and Florida's ultimately the move. These guys don't get paid what they get paid to be comfortable, and they all believe in themselves. And ultimately, what it comes down to me is, does Lane think he can win more consistently and at a higher level at UF than he does Ole Miss? If I'm Lane, I think I can. I don't like UF. Nothing good is orange, in my opinion, but I just call it like I see it. Here's the deal there. We are on a 4-year clock. It's October of 2025. And 4 years from now, we'll come back and say, what kind of decision did Lane make? Did Ole Miss go to the playoff multiple times with him there? If so, that was genius. Did Florida go back to the SEC championship and start to beat Georgia again? Genius move. Did Ole Miss keep him and stay stuck at 8-4, whereas Florida hired Drinkowitz or someone else, and they had risen back to national prominence? If so, then Lane would be an idiot. If he goes to Florida and becomes the 5th coach that's fired in 4 years or less, we'd look at Lane and say, you should have stayed where you were. You're an idiot. Lane's got one shot to pick his path, and we'll see how right or wrong he is in about 3 or 4 years. What's your call? I know what the Florida fans are going to say. I know what the Ole Miss fans are going to say. But if you're not a fan of one of those teams, what would you do if you were Lane Kiffin? Is Lane going to be a genius, or is he going to be an idiot? That's the question that only he knows the answer to. Make sure that you are subscribed to College Football Addiction. Make sure you don't miss any of our content. We go live twice a week on the Power 2 on Monday and Wednesday. We'll talk about this plenty more as the offseason rolls. But I'd love to hear what you guys think on Lane Kiffin and what he'll do, and then how it'll work out. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you soon on College Football Addiction.